Good evening, everybody. It's a pleasure to welcome all of you to this event of CIC, which is a very important event. It's on the greening of Tamilnadu. Pasumai Thamizhagam is the title on which we have a very distinguished panel, and I'm happy to introduce the panel to you. We have Sri Deepak Srivastav. He is from the Indian Forest Service. He has an MSc in botany from Allahabad University and was a lecturer in the degree college at Roorkee. He belongs to the 1992 batch of the Indian Forest Service of the Tamil Nadu cadre. He joined the Indian Forest Service on 1st January 1993 after resigning from the Indian Post and Telegraph Finance and Account Service. He belongs to Uttarakhand in Haridwar. Other than holding various posts in the Forest Department, he has served as Director, Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment in the Government of India from January 2004 to January 2008, Project Director, Hill Area Development Program in Ooty, the Planning Department, Government of Tamil Nadu, Chief Vigilance Officer of the Mahanadi Coal Fields Limited in Sambalpur, Odisha, under the Ministry of Coal, Dean of the Forest College and Research Institute at Mettupalayam in Tamil Nadu, Agriculture University under the Government of Tamil Nadu, and also Special Secretary in the Department of Environments and Forests in the Government of Tamil Nadu. He is currently posted as Additional Principal Conservator of Forests and Member Secretary, Tamil Nadu State Wetland Authority, and Additional Principal Chief Conservator of Forests and Mission Director, Green Tamil Nadu Mission. His hobbies are cricket and reading books on environment-related issues. I have great pleasure in welcoming you. Please join us on the stage, sir. We are fortunate to have Mrs. Nirmala Raja, who is the Chairperson of Ramco Community Services, who oversees a range of initiatives including projects in education, health, both physical and mental, environment, community development, emergency relief, and the study of ancient Indian literature. As a board member at Arsh Vidya Mandir in Chennai, she has also led the school's development since its establishment in 2002. Mrs. Raja is also a board member of the Indian Schools Debating Society. She holds an engineering degree in computer science from Anna University and an MA in applied education, leadership and management from the Leeds University in England. She is married to Mr. P.R. Venkatrama Raja, chairman of the Ramco Group of Companies. Mrs. Raja is the chairperson of Ramco Community Services and oversees a range of initiatives, including projects in education, health, environment, community development, emergency relief, and the study of Indian literature. I have great pleasure in welcoming ma'am. Please join us on the podium. The other distinguished member on this panel is Mr. Paul. He has studied ecological sciences at Edinburgh University. He arrived in the international community of Auroville, India in 1991 at the age of 24 and has been here since. For the last 30 years, he has been committed to the conservation and restoration of the native forests of the area. In the year 2000, he was one of the instigators of the Auroville Botanical Gardens on 50 acres of land. Now, 20 years later, it is a thriving and beautiful environment dedicated to the conservation of biodiversity. Over the years, it has seen more than 45,000 school children visit and attend environment education programs. He also runs large-scale ecological restoration projects and landscape developments throughout India for over 60 clients. He recently completed the restoration of an old cement quarry, creating an eco-park which will serve as a benchmark project for the mining industries of India. The eventual project will cover 800 acres. In 2021, he completed his first novel, Radical Network, which draws on his lifetime of work with nature to create a fast-paced, readable story that engages the reader in topics that relate to our current environmental crisis on the planet, as well as questioning our perceptions of consciousness. Please join us, sir. I'm, I'm happy to welcome a dear colleague of mine and an old friend, Mrs. Supriya Sahu. Supriya belongs to the 1991 batch of the Indian Administrative Service. She has served in various capacities in the Government of Tamilnadu and the Government of India and has more than 30 years of experience in the Indian Administrative Service. She has worked extensively in areas relating to socio-economic development, administration, health, empowerment, environment, climate change, forests, and media. She has also held various important positions in the government, notably as the Project Director, Health Systems Reforms, Joint Secretary in the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, Director General of Doordarshan, etc. She is credited with strengthening the community radio network movement in India. As DG Doordarshan, she headed the Asia Pacific Broadcasting Union as the Vice President. She has also led a grassroots environmental campaign, the Operation Blue Mountain, and successfully implemented the plastic ban in the Nilgiris district. During her tenure as the district collector of Nilgiris district, she was awarded with the Best Collector Award by Government of Tamil Nadu. Her experiment with Nilgiris has been documented by the Planning Commission and the UNDP as the best practice on government from Indian states. Further, she led the district team to create a Guinness World Record of planting the largest number of trees in a day. She also received the Green Award of Government of Tamil Nadu for comprehensively bringing a total ban on disposable single-use plastic items. Her current posting is Additional Chief Secretary to the Government, Environment, Climate Change and Forest Department and Chief Executive Officer of the IncoServe Kunur. As CEO of IncoServe, she has been able to turn around the ailing organization, thereby benefiting 30,000 small tea farmers and initiated modernization of 16 industrial cooperative tea factories after many decades. She has been instrumental in setting up India's first Tamil Nadu Green Climate Company, TNGCC, a not-for-profit body under Section 8 of the Companies Act to manage the climate change initiatives. The TNGCC encompasses 3 flagship missions of the government, reinforcing their commitment to climate change issues. The Tamil Nadu Climate Change Mission will focus on climate change adaptations and mitigation activities. Green Tamil Nadu Mission will endeavour to enhance the forest and tree cover from the existing 23.2% to 33% through a meticulously planned tree planting campaign over a period of 10 years, while the Tamil Nadu Wetlands Mission shall undertake the task of eco-restoration of about 100 wetlands in Tamil Nadu. It's indeed an honour and a pleasure to have you here with us on this occasion. And we have a very young audience who's waiting avidly to listen to all of you. So without further ado, I hand over the proceedings to Mrs. Raja, and I request her to take over and conduct the proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much for this warm welcome. So today in our midst, we have an esteemed panel here.
I think you need the microphone. Is it working?
Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. So I've been requested to moderate the panel, but I really want to modify that verb to say that I'm here to learn. And I think to just set the context of how we all met together, I manage a school in Chennai. The students, of them are all here. And besides following the basic mandated curriculum in school and the subjects, I had an interest that students also have an experiential learning such as farming and being out in nature. And I was fortunate to have a good gentleman from Oroville, Dr. Lucas, participate with the school. And a whole subject of environmental science opened up for us. So it started off with farming, from there it went into garbology, solid waste management, toilets, agriculture, and everything began to integrate in terms of the ideas that I was learning. And over the years, this gave me the confidence because I was learning, it widened my own understandings. And I said, okay, here's another opportunity. Let's probably apply whatever I have received in a school context into an industrial context. And that was the next phase to actually apply these good learnings into a larger project. And at the cement company, we decided to actually restore a completely degraded land area, which really, when you look at it, not even a blade of grass you would see on that kind of area. And that's when I had the good fortune to meet with Mr. Paul. And it was again another big learning for me because something which I thought was the impossible, I could really experience and believe that it could happen. So what we started off as 60 acres in the mines and quarries, I think in the first 2 years, then we expanded it to another 100 acres. And I think I felt the inspiration and was so excited about the project that I said I need to really meet the government officials and share what I have actually experienced and convey to them. And it was in this context that I met Mrs. Supriya Sahu and shared with her, tried to explain what was going on. And it was very interesting that around the same period, she had launched this huge vision and mission for Tamilnadu, the Pasumai Tamilnadu scheme. So that was another exciting, I think, experience for me personally. I was introduced to Mr. Deepak also at the same time, and that's how we've all come together. So for today, I have just planned, as I said, I'm learning. Basically, planned a few questions which I would like to share with each one, and I'm going to ask the same questions to each one of you. And we're going to really get probably an experience to see through different lenses the same question from the experiences of such strong words. So we will have 3 questions, and each speaker would have 5 minutes, and then we open it up for everyone also to ask many more questions. And with this, I will start. And Mrs. Supriya, I'd like you to share a little about your personal and professional background. And from your perspective, what do you hope for the Pasumai Tamilnadu program to achieve?
Good evening. I'm really nervous today, not because I have not attended many programs of similar nature before, but on the left hand side I have such seniors, my seniors sitting over here, whom I hold in such great regard. They have been guiding force for us, and thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, sirs. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to come and talk to you. So coming to the question about what is this Pasumai Tamilnadu, what is this Green Tamil Nadu mission? So there is a technical aspect of it and there is a practical aspect of it. I think never ever in the history before there was a time then we had to think so much about greening our earth, greening our planet. I hope you all agree. And the reasons are there for all of us to see. Places where there was no rain, there are floods now. Where we have never seen, plenty of rain, it's just topsy-turvy. The news is there for everybody to read every day. Place where I worked for many years as district collector, it was mentioned by sir. Torrential rains, landslides, Nilgiris I'm talking about. Chennai, place where we are sitting. Heat island effect. I can go on and there is a lot of data, but it's not to bore you with data. But the fact is that I think we have no time but to act immediately. So Pasumai Tamilnadu is basically, it's a collective effort It's a movement. It's a people's movement to plant trees. It's as simple as that. Every inch of land that is available, we must plant it with a tree. What kind of a tree? It should be a native tree. It should be a local tree. It should suit the locality. And that's what Paul will talk about. Nirmala will talk about, Deepak. They're all experts. But not those exotics which fall in the first gush of wind that comes in. Pasumai Tamilnadu is about native trees. It's about bringing back those birds which we have seen when we used to be kids, and these birds, and it used to be like when you get up in the morning, it used to be as if you are in a bird sanctuary. But where have they gone? Because there are no trees. So you find many of those birds, even common birds you don't find. So the Pasumai Tamilnadu or Green Tamilnadu mission is about planting a tree. It's planting of native trees. Trees like Palmyra, the state tree of Tamil Nadu. Huge benefits, but not many people know about it. The program also aims to create a huge bioshield on the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu. 1076 kilometers of coastline is what we have, but it's all exposed now. Every single cyclone is devastating and can be even worse. The plan is to secure the coast, to make sure that the communities which are living along the coast, they are safe, that villages are not washed away. The movement is also about people. It's also about locals. It's also about indigenous communities. It's also about the knowledge they have. The movement is about animals. Why are they coming out of the forest? Because the forests are also degraded from within. You don't have the kind of fruits and the fodder they used to get within forests. The movement is also about restoration of degraded forests. Ultimately, the movement is about each and every one of us. It's about what can we do? How can I contribute? Even if I can contribute a sapling or a plant or a tree, can I do it? And how can I do it? It's huge, it's humongous, it's challenging. It makes us nervous, but here we are. Whatever it is, we are here to implement it. And we shall do it. We are very confident. We have a very good action plan. We have the support that is required at the political level. We have planned for our administrative system setup, and we have also figured out what kind of finances would be required. So we are set to kind of take off and launch this program at the end of this month, but with the support of each and every one of you who is seated in this auditorium, only then it can succeed. So it's all about us. It's all about plants, and it's all about animals.
Truly inspiring to just, I think, recognize that there's such a huge vision. But if each member can actually, I think, be a part of this movement, as Madam has said, a collective effort, we can all do it. Mr. Deepak, I'd like to pass down the same question to you.
Thank you. Good evening to everyone. Good evening, sirs. Good evening, ma'am. And my distinguished panelists and all the esteemed guests of the dais. So it's a very big day for us because we are doing a little branding of Green Tamilnadu Mission. And though I have a presentation, but I don't think that I should show the presentation. It's better to go for extempore speaking and make you understand what the Tamilnadu Mission is, Green Tamilnadu Mission is all about. Now, first and foremost thing is that we all are daily reading that the climate change is becoming a threat to the human life. And it is a fact. And the impetus of the government is on promoting renewable energies to reduce the emission intensity, to reduce the fossil fuel based electrical generation. But despite this, the nature based solutions, which are restoration of forest, which are you can say restoration of landscapes, degraded landscapes, is very vital. As far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, because there are few questions will arise in mind that why suddenly there was a need for a Green Tamil Nadu mission. That question comes to everybody's mind. Including, it comes to me also that why we have not planned earlier. I am a forest officer, been in forest service for 30 years. 1952 we had a national forest policy, 1988 we had a national forest policy. In that 33% is there as a mandate. But why we kept silent all these days, and why we could not achieve India also and state also 33%. Out of 36 states in India, only 17 states are there where 33% achievement is there of the forest and tree cover, and last one is Odisha. And we are standing at 20.27. Forest cover, I am telling, forest cover. If forest and tree cover, it is 23.6. Now, why it has happened that despite taking so much of efforts or so much of past plantation programs, we are still struggling to reach to that point, which is a very, you can say it's really a daunting, challenging for all of us, whoever is in this. But because what has happened is, I think somewhere we have not done the concrete planning. The meticulous planning was lacking, and it was a government's vision. It came from the government. It was a government part of the government's manifesto that we should increase our forest and tree cover from 23.7 to 33%. And when it came to us as a bureaucrat to implement, it was definitely, despite being in service, despite having all the experience, despite having all the technical knowledge, it was looking a very big, onerous burden, task, challenge, and on all of us to roll out the mission. Now, if you see the Tamil Nadu, we are not sitting on a very, you can say that comfortable position as far as restoration of degraded forest area is concerned. Because you know that whenever this climate change mitigation we talk about, it is forest are the natural carbon sinks. We somehow, it takes a back seat. It came in NDC. It came as a part of third commitment under national determined contributions in the UNFCCC, but updated INDC does not have that component of creation of additional carbon sink of 2.5 to 3 billion tons by way of forest and tree cover, which was giving us a strength to, means that we also incorporated in our mission plan also, but subsequently we found that even that is not there, but still 50% of the energy is going to be derived from the fossil fuel, and that kind of greenhouse gas emissions which we will be emitting by way of that has to be you can say that mitigated by the nature based solutions. So what has happened in Tamil Nadu particularly, and it has happened very silently actually, and you should know as a learned audience, there is a technical term which is known as growing stock. Growing stock tells you about how much is the asset in your forest. It is an asset in the forest. It is, you can say it is a natural asset in the forest, which sometimes you might be reading about biodiversity. It's a very common thing. Biodiversity everybody knows. But thing is that biodiversity arises from that natural stock, because species variety is there, species richness is there. And I think very few of you will be knowing that species richness, that is biological diversity, is very important for climate change. The studies which has happened in UK, which has happened in US, which has happened in Mexico, has shown that biodiversity is very important for the carbon sink, natural carbon sink. And somehow climate change has always taken a front seat, but biodiversity erosion has not spoken so much. Now we have been speaking much about the biodiversity. So silently what has happened in Tamil Nadu, that in 10 years, that is from 2011 to 2021, we have lost 54 million cubic meter of growing stock. And it is mind-boggling figure. There is a growing stock of recorded forest area, and there is a growing stock tree outside forest. Tree outside forest, we have increased the growing stock by 10 or 9 million cubic meter. We have increased in 9 years. But in recorded forest area, the Indian State of Forest report says that 2011 and then 2021, that there is a degradation of 54 million cubic meter of growing stock, which is a very, very disturbing but equally eye-opening. Now, restoration of degraded forest landscape becomes a very, very important task in the Green Tamilnadu Mission, because there is our traditional communities, local indigenous communities. We talk about indigenous communities, we talk about tribals, we talk of forest dwellers, but this shows somehow, this is indicative of the fact that somehow they have been alienated from the restoration process, because this shows, the figure shows. Now, the problem is, now one side of it is that we have lost the growing stock, restoration of degraded forest area. When it comes to tree cover, though it has increased from 2011 to 2021, but there was decrease from 2019 to 2021, because ISFR figure comes in every, this report comes biennially. We lost 400 square kilometers of tree cover. And that is a big, again, it's a very, you can say, significant. So we thought that one side, we have to restore our degraded forests, which are the natural carbon sinks. Not only natural carbon sinks, because it has become a buzzword, carbon sink and climate change related to biodiversity like that. But thing is that water provisioning services, air quality improvement, livelihood of, you can say that traditional communities. These are very intricately linked. And when it comes to tree outside forest, restoration of degraded forest, it cannot happen without the involving multi-sectoral stakeholders. Means it has to be a multi-stakeholders program. Up till now, what we did, Forest Department was working in isolation. I am speaking my mind. Yes, it was working in isolation. We didn't connect to the other departments. And now when this government came, there was a paradigm shift from, you can say that the government's vision was that you should involve all stakeholders and make it a people's movement. Now in this, the State Green Committee was constituted. Nowhere in the country, I think, State Green Committee is there. Nowhere in the country, District Green Committees are there. District Green Committees are headed by the district collectors. And the District Green Committee, now this, for the Green Tamilnadu Mission, entire action plan has to come from the District Green Committee. Now District Green Committee will involve all the stakeholders, whatever stakeholders are there in the district level, they will evolve a plan for raising nurseries. Can you guess that how many seedlings we need to plant to reach 33%? Any guess will be there? Anybody can guess that number of seedlings to be planted to reach from 23.6 to 33% in 10 years is 260 crore seedlings. 260 crore seedlings. So we have seen the Telangana model.
we have studied best practices because we cannot avoid best practices. And Telangana, one best practices I have come across is restoration of degraded forest areas. They have taken the root stock which was inside the forest and natural seedlings which were struggling. They have in situ regeneration of 100 crore in 3 years. And that is a successful model. So we took a cue from that because that model has been successful. And natural forest, there is no replacement. So therefore we took that with the help of local communities, tribals, indigenous communities, let us restore that, and payment of ecosystem services can be linked to that. They can be incentivized like that. But for tree outside forest, 12,500 square kilometers we have to cover. Because there the forest cover increase will be there. Area increase won't come. Area increase will come tree outside forest. So 12,500 square kilometers of area we have to cover in 10 years time. Out of that, we have planned to cover 5,000 square kilometers on farmlands. Why farmlands? Because, again, agroforestry has become a, you can say, a very important, a integral component of the even Green India Mission. It's a very integral component, agroforestry. Second thing, most important is that not only it will give the farmers, you can say, double or triple income, but how the domestic wood production will come. Nowadays, the import bill of the wood is worrisome. 37 million cubic meter of import wood is being imported by India currently. It will be in 2030, sorry, 37 million cubic meter. It will worth $6,700 million, US million dollars. That is the cost of the wood which will be coming in the India by way of import. So why not to augment the wood production in the farmland? Why not to uplift the livelihood of the farmers? And why not to improve the green cover also on the farmland? Then peri-urban and urban component is very important. Our ACS has been, Additional Chief Secretary has been very, very, you can say that doing very aggressive advocacy for that, that our peri-urban and urban areas, because urban heat island effect is causing a lot of loss of lives. Even I read in something that somewhere that 2017, 46 lakh crore of, you can say that work loss, 7% of GDP, something like that. I'm not exactly remembering. That is due to the only urban heat effect, increased temperature. So therefore, 2,000 square kilometers we are planning under peri-urban and urban. So 5,000 farmlands, 2,000 this one, and then tank beds are there, water bodies are there, ponds are there, lakes are there. They are also 3,500. And then remaining, it is coming on, you can say, institutional lands and other land banks which will be identified by the district collector. So therefore 12,500 square kilometers planning is there. Blueprint has been prepared. Everybody has geared up. This year we put a target of, because we have never raised 2.5 crore seedlings in any of the state scheme, but in the Green Tamilnadu Mission Madam told that the target should not be very big also and should not look small also, because we are embarking on a mission. So 2.5 crore was the target fixed. And for your kind information, I am very glad to inform you, we were very nervous. Definitely we were very nervous. We were reviewing each day. Madam has quoted our Chief Secretary, sir. I am quoting Madam that review, and go on reviewing. That will result. So that has happened, and now we are sitting very happily that we have raised 2.8 crore seedlings in Tamil Nadu, 30 lakh, more than that. And with this, we have got a more confidence that yes, we will raise, but again, one caution is there, which I think most of the talking I will allow on this account to be done by Mr. Paul, because he has been doing advocacy for native species. And not only Ms. Nirmala ji, you told about learning. Learning is for everyone, because we will be also learning from audience today, because there may be some kind of questions or some kind of suggestions which will come, and this is an August gathering where we are always there to take the corrective measures and rectifiable measures wherever it is required. So why the planting program? Just a one-liner I will complete now. Why the planting program has failed in past? No doubt we have planted 1 crore, 2 crore, 3 crore. We have planted, we have attempted throughout India. But why it has failed is because there was no right kind of species at the right spot and at the right time. Very, very simple. There is no rocket science involved in this. Only thing is that whether right species has been planted, whether right kind of site was there, and whether right kind of planting time was there, and whether right kind of planting methodology was there, and whether right kind of monitoring was there. So therefore, Green Tamilnadu Mission is taking care of all these 5 aspects. We have got all the agroclimatic zones, native species, though there are farmers' preferences also. Farmer preferences are there for casuarina also. We cannot avoid that. Farmer preferences there for silver oak in hilly areas. We cannot avoid that. But that is minimal. We have to take into concerns the farmer's choice also. But this Green Tamilnadu Mission will be on a, you can say, will be having a very, very important and very, very pertinent component of third-party monitoring, and that too a kind of, today just madam also given me an idea, and we are going for that. That is a kind of project management unit kind of thing, which will be a third party, which will be doing monitoring also, evaluation also, because now itself 350 nurseries are there. When we are going in a mission mode and we are going to multiply 10 times nursery and planting targets, then there will be 700 to 1000 nurseries, and therefore there will be several places where planting will be done. So individual plant, it is very difficult to geotag, but land parcels will be geotagged. And we have got a web portal of Tamil Nadu, Green Tamil Nadu Mission, which is called www.greentnmission.com. That will be soon available in the public domain. It is now for the officials, but soon it will be for the public domain also, where what we will do, that land parcels will be geotagged, and if anybody wants to plant their tree, they can just, we will tell them the location, that your tree is contributing to the growth of this land parcel. Because it will be very difficult to ask for individual tree, where my tree is there. It will be your tree. It will be your tree, but land parcel will be identified that your tree is here and contributing to the increase in the forest and tree cover of Tamil Nadu. So this is the thing. So I am concluding with a one line, you can say my message this, it is a people's movement. Our Honorable Chief Minister's dream mission, and we are very lucky that our Honorable Minister is also inspecting nurseries and motivating us. Our additional Chief Secretary is also going to all districts and doing that. As a mission director, it is my duty. I have to do it. There is no other means option for me. But getting motivated from the senior officers and the political bosses, it is seen. It is really a wonderful team which has been which has set the tone for the you can say for the successful implementation of the Green Tamil Nadu Mission. And we will require your means there you may be 100, 200, but when you go outside, you will be thousands, then 10,000, 1 lakh, 5 lakh. So that moment I as a mission director, I hope from you that you will spread this message and make this movement as a true people movement, because without people as an important pillar and stakeholder, it is very difficult to ensure success of any mission. Thank you so much.
You're not even going to ask the question, are you? Just going to let me straight. It's very interesting to be in a room like this, because I'm sitting here in awe, and over the last few years I've really been exposed to people who are at the top of the bureaucratic chain. And I think they're amazing. I think they're absolutely incredible. We've been working with a collector in Viruddhanagar, and they sit there and they know everything. And they know how everything works. And they're designed to come in and be there and immediately learn everything. And you guys are amazing. So first of all, I just sit here and say, wow. And you really have, you've taken up this challenge and you've done an incredible job of working it out and planning it. And then I've been sitting here listening to this and thinking, wow, these guys are amazing. And I think, what am I going to say? It's like, who am I? I'm just I'm just a guy. So, but what I wanted to say was that, what do I represent? And I think what I represent is passion. And so I just tell you a little bit of a story about myself to tell you where I come from. I grew up in London, or the green belt of London, and I used to run around in the forests. That's where I grew up, and that's what I did. There was old brick kiln copses where they grew trees that they would have made bricks from to build London. And it was kind of an agricultural landscape and trees, and I just loved being in the forest. And that's what I love doing. I'm a guy who loves trees. And then I went to university, and I didn't really want to go to university, but then I thought, okay, I should go to university, and I thought, okay, what do I study? And so I thought, I'll study trees, and I found a course that was ecology and forestry. Fantastic. Then what was I going to do afterwards? I thought I'd get a job, but I like the tropics. I like the excitement of the tropics, and somehow I found my way to Oroville. And I thought, okay, I'll be here for a couple of years, get some experience in tropical forestry, and then I'll go off and get a job. 30 years later, I'm still here. And I still don't have a job. I'm still kind of an honorary voluntary worker. But what I've had is an extraordinary opportunity, and that brings me to the second point. I mean, I'm in awe, absolutely, but I'm extremely grateful. And I think I hold this incredible sense of gratitude towards India for providing me with this extraordinary life that I've lived. And I've managed to follow... No, but I've managed to follow my passion. India is an extraordinary place. It's welcomed me, and it's allowed me to follow my passion, which is just to follow the trees. And so when I first arrived here, I went out, and in Scotland, where I was studying, we have like 5 trees. You know, there's a pine tree, then there's an oak tree. There's no more pine trees. There's one pine tree. It's like an extremely small collection of plants. You come here, it's fantastic. There's 150 trees just in this area by the time you've gone in sort of like 50 kilometers to Gingy. Plus the shrubs, plus everything else. You know, there's 1,000 plants here. It's an incredible place for me to study. It was so much fun. So I studied the forest. I learned about the forest, and I collected seeds. When I was a kid, I used to go out with my mum, and we used to collect blackberries and make blackberry jam, because that's what we did. So I've always had this thing of enjoying to collect. And so I collect seeds. And what you do with a seed, you say, how do you germinate this? And then you put it in a bag, and it germinates. And you go, what do I do with this tree now? Well, I should plant it somewhere. And so you're sort of caught in this extraordinary loop. Oh, I like picking seeds. I like growing seeds. I like planting trees. What shall I do next? And that's really been the journey of my life. I started in Oroville in a small community. It was 25 acres. Then after a while, an opportunity came to start a botanical gardens. I said, okay, let's do that, because I like going to gardens. I like botanical gardens. We planted trees. How do we fund the botanical gardens? Well, let's grow some trees and sell them to some people, you know, and create a sustainable economic system that we can create a business model that works, which is what we've done. And through that journey, we've met incredible people. And one of the people was sitting right next to me here. And so we had this incredible meeting, and then Sir's sitting over there, and we've taken on some of the aspects of the Ramco mines, and we've done, I still believe it's amazing. It is an amazing project that I was very surprised how well it worked, because there's an incredible team in that company, because there's great leadership from the top of that company, and we had some magic. And that's brought me here to sit here today. And what do I bring? I bring that passion. And I bring that thing. It's like I feel like a little kid somehow. Probably I look the oldest of everyone sitting up here, but I feel like a little kid. It's interesting. We all sort of graduated in 91, 92. No, it's like I graduated university, you finished. We all sort of did that as a graduation. But I feel like a little kid, because these guys are awesome. They're amazing. They know everything. And I'm just running around, hey, let's plant this tree here. Let's do this. Let's collect some more seeds. Hey, what's that tree over there? I haven't seen that tree before. Still amazing. I still find trees that I've never seen before. And that's the most exciting part of my life. What's that? The other day, my botanical team went out and they discovered a plant that we didn't know what it was. Wow, what's that? And so I have this love and excitement. And in a way, that's what I think we want to bring and offer to this project. Because it's not only me. We just this year started an Ecological Restoration Alliance in India, and they've actually met. They came and met Supriya. And it's like out there, there's people that are passionate, people that love the forest. And these are the people that we want to be involved. We want to be able to contribute to help this system. And I think the value that we can add through our passion, through our total interest and immersion in the forest, where we've spent a long time and we've really started to understand the ecosystem. And so for me, it's always about, we have this amazing project and it's an incredible logistical extravaganza. And it's amazing that we've got to year 1 and we're going to get to year 10. But year 1, we're going to launch it and it's going to go forward and it's there. It exists. It's manifesting. But as we go along, this project's going to evolve and knowledge is going to come in and it's going to help. The nurseries that have been established, we can bring more seeds. We can bring more diversity. And I think that's the key to any long-term forestry program, is the ecosystem approach, which has been mentioned. And we have to look at how can we create a solid ecosystem that will be there for the foreseeable future. Because when we lock up carbon, a lot of the carbon locks up underground. And if we create permanent forest cover, the carbon stays there. If we have a harvestable system or that the trees are not suited to the area. So we need to look at this project as a stepping stones. And in the first year, let's do it. Let's get the energy. Let's make the whole thing happen. And as we go forward, I'm looking over here a lot. I'm not looking so much at you because I'm talking to the young audience. Because they're good. They nod and they smile and they're like really, no, it's good. I'm sure you do as well. But it's like that. We have to just get in there. And what I found, like we run a course, an ecological horticulture course. We only have 10, 15 people on the course. But at the end of that, everyone's so excited about going out and collecting seeds. Like I had a guy from the local village who was almost a dropout. And to get him to sit down in one place, I still can't do it. But he roams around and he finds seeds and he comes back and he loves to show me the seeds he's found, and our nursery is more diverse than ever. And so this is the energies that we need to include and to wrap into this project to make it more and more resilient. And this is the word that we need to drive ourselves toward, is resilience. Because we're going through a series of climatic changes. And at the moment, Europe is looking very hot. In fact, Tamilnadu is actually looking like the place to be. You know, it's like, and I'm very grateful again that I'm not there, I'm here, and it really looks like the place to be. But we can make that country of Tamilnadu a forest again. And this is I'm going to wrap up soon as well because I see the clock ticking around. But this is one of my passions now, is the history of the Tamilnadu landscape. And we can see over history, as each civilization has come, era by era, the forest has diminished. And what a wealthy forest it was 2,000 years ago. We had rosewoods, we had vengais, we had sandalwood, we had all of those things. Even when I came, there was still sandalwood smuggling in the Javadi Hills. I went up there and the forest guide said, no, you stay here. Then at night you hear the gunshots and it's like, it's all gone now. And so the forests have diminished, era by era by era. And if we can tell that story, if we can recreate that narrative and show people that Tamilnadu once was this incredibly forested land with an extraordinary wealth of timber, which we could harvest sustainably. But right now, when we drive through the plains of Tamilnadu, we see precipice. And precipice does have some ecological biodiversity value. You talk to the bird watchers and they say, don't cut all the precipice down, cut it down in sections because the birds still use the precipice. But it doesn't have that extraordinary wealth that could be created. And with a program like this, we can head back towards being the first generation, the first era, the first civilization that can recreate forests rather than diminishing forests. And that is my aspiration, that I can just be a tiny little part of that. And I offer it with a kind of a gratitude to the country of India and the state of Tamil Nadu for giving me such an extraordinary life.
Thank you. This was amazing. I think, Madam Supriya, you have set a vision for the state, for the country. And Mr. Deepak, I think so much of data that I could hear, my brain just couldn't hold on to those numbers and figures. But I think I'm feeling truly inspired, truly inspired. As Paul has mentioned, the passion and the energy to see all of this, I think, together, I know it's possible. So I think the youngsters here, this is a future for you. I think the vision that Madam has set the next 10 years, we'll all be around to experience that, to participate in. But each one of you, I think, has the whole world out there for you to take this vision forward. So with these, I'd like to request the audience, if they have questions. You've heard so much, it would be wonderful to, I think, for you to ask and share. Yes.
I have a solution. So normally, when people plant trees, I would request them to plant trees like green, tamarind, banyan, something like that, which goes. Normally, what happens is, they, for the sake of it, they plant some trees. Recently, for the recent cyclone, not possible. So, considering future, whatever you plant, the trees has to be for next 20, 30 years, 40 years, 50 years. So I would request all my colleagues to plant trees like banyan tree, tamarind tree, neem tree, something like that. Not for the sake of just planting. Plant a tree, but it should stand for the next 5 generations. It's my suggestion. I'm from Ramco.
Maybe already doing this, right? We're talking a lot about the supply side, increasing forest cover and growing trees. But we're not talking about the consumption side. Because it's because of consumption which is increasing that having a stress in the forest, right? More coffee, more tea, more roads, right? So if you are able to address the consumption, because all our development goals are, this is the per capita consumption of fuel, power in India, this is the per capita road, per kilometer road availability in India, how do we increase that, right? So we need to address consumption. So if you address consumption, then we can reduce the area under tea and coffee plantation and increase forest plantation, right? That was one of the reasons why the Nilgiris belt and all other forests have gone, because we have commercial planted. The second is our value system, right? In our value system, we recently had a festival in our community today. We are praying to the forests, we are praying to the rivers, and we are thanking the gods, and we are thanking the rishis for what we are today. That value system has degraded. We do no longer pray to the forests. We no longer pray to the rivers. You know, ancient civilizations were doing that. So if you can inculcate that in schools and colleges, right, where we respect the environment. We used to pray, right? Every animal is represented as a god. Every tree has representation. And we somehow, have degenerated not looking at those trees and rivers as value systems of our respecting them. So if you can bring that back into the education system, I think then we will be less abusive of our ponds and rivers and our trees. Yeah. Thank you.
Good evening. My name is Meenakshi. I am one of the founders of an urban magazine called Citizen Matters. And there are a bunch of us here, volunteers. You'll find us on every solid waste management, every tree growing group in South Chennai. Mrs. Sahu, is there any way that we will get some kind of act to help people like us with protecting urban trees? Between the 5 of us, we would have at least seen 100 trees being cut in the last 2 years and nothing that we could have done. We have seen a 125-year-old baobab cut on Greaves Road. We saw a neem tree cut last week on Adyar. My neighbor poured acid on a tree because it was too much foliage into her garden. There's nothing we can do when a tree is being cut in the city. And I spent 300 out of 365 days in the city. I'd love to be able to do something to protect these trees. Thank you.
So we will listen to the questions. Or
you can do it then and there.
Yeah, that's okay. It's a matter of major concern. And let me assure you, we have already started working on it. So at the state level, Deepak mentioned about it, that we have something called a State Green Committee, which is headed by me, Secretary. And it has members from across the spectrum. NGOs are also a part of the team. At the district level, we have a district green committee, which is headed by the district collector. We have just operationalized a toll-free number. It has just happened, not yet in the public domain, but we shall be doing so. It's like dial that number if you see a tree being cut. Okay, so that's the first time we are going to do that, and we have as a team we have been able to bring that number. Very soon we will be sharing that number. We are also working on a tree act for Tamil Nadu, where we want to protect every single tree. At this point of time, what is the legal provision that is available to us? If you cut a tree in a forest area, it's an offense. But if you cut a tree near a bus stop or in a public land, there's nothing much that can be done. That is why a tree act is a must. A Tamil Nadu tree act or a Chennai tree act is a must, which mandates that, or which kind of puts in place a legal provision, a proviso that if you cut a tree which is standing in a public land, you will be punished. That is something which is not available at this point of time. So we have, that is why till the time we bring the act, in order to save the trees in the interim, we have brought this provision of dial, and the Green Committee has been given the mandate to protect all trees which are standing on the government land or public land for that matter. So please feel free to call up this number, reach out to us. It is not allowed at all. So you cannot cut a tree in the public place even now. Last point is, nobody can cut a tree otherwise also, because if it is a corporation land, it's a trespass act. It is basically a destruction of a public property. IPC provisions will apply. We have clarified this to the corporation, and recently for cutting a tree, 50,000 fine was also imposed by Chennai Corporation on one of the shops when they cut out the tree. So that is also not allowed. To come to the conclusion, cutting a tree is actually an offense. It cannot be allowed at all. These are the step-by-step action that has been taken, but very soon we will come out with a specific tree act to ensure that enough legal push is given to the particular cause. Thank you.
If I dial in, there'll be an action response team who can come in immediately. In each district, you can have something.
Yes, so we have the call will go to the DFO, the concerned DFO. They already have. The call will go to the DFO, and they already have they have a very well designed kind of a mechanism where they have the range officers, they have the foresters. They would immediately visit and kind of make sure that it is not done. I think it will be very tall claim to say that we have been successful in all these cases, but in most cases we have been able to stop cutting, barring few which I think we should be able to stop here afterwards. Also, we have just embarked on a journey where we have just decided to make a list of the heritage trees in Tamil Nadu. Every town, every district, every place, and Paul will agree with me, he will know about each of these trees, has something incredible. Incredible trees are there. So we have decided to document and notify all these heritage trees under a beautiful act. It is called the Biodiversity Heritage Sites Act. It's a beautiful act and it's a national act. If you notify a particular, it could be a tree, it could be a place, it could be an object, it could be an animal species which is unique, that should be specified under the act to provide a special protection and a special status. So we want to document all the heritage trees and notify them as the biodiversity heritage sites. The process has just begun, and hopefully if you will call us again to have a talk with you, and then we should be able to kind of share what progress we have made in this regard. Thank you very much.
Well, I am Ramesh. As mentioned earlier on, the kind of ethics that we used to have and the reverence that we used to have for the trees, I am able to remember that in our school days, Vanamahotsava day and all used to be taught to us, kind of a thing, as part of the non-detailed texts and stuff like that. So that is one thing which I wanted to bounce back. Other than that, in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, it says about propitiating all the elements, trees, water bodies and stuff like that. And so respecting the foliage, fauna and flora is part of our culture. And so that's one thing which I wanted to tell. And this is what my Guruji, Dayananda Saraswati, also used to stress whenever we used to meet as part of the Aim for Seva mission also. He has done a wonderful job and it is still continuing even after his passing away. Number 2. Number 3 is that, this is to Sahu Madam, that I am wondering as to why the so-called stakeholders called people have been choked and suffocated to not allow them to plant a tree at all. For example, in my house, I can't plant a sandalwood tree, or for the matter, a teakwood tree. Whereas I have got a 1.5 ground plot available in Mylapore, where I can't, rosewood tree I can't plant. So when you choke a person like that, and so the stakeholder called Ramesh is not being allowed to grow 3 wonderful things by which after about 20-30 years or so, my son can cut it and then make a few lakhs of it, kind of thing. That incentivizing of me is not there at all. So I want that correction also to be made whenever you try to do some law tinkering work in future. Please.
It's a very good question, and it's a concern of many tree growers, that when it comes to growing of tree, okay, you say that grow the tree, when it comes to cutting for genuine bona fide reasons, we prevent, and lot of rules comes into picture. But no, it's not like that. I will clarify your point. First thing is that you can, whatever you are planting, even teak trees, you can get the felling permission. There is not a problem at all. Only problem is sandalwood. Also, there is no problem. There is a patta sandalwood rules of Tamil Nadu, and in that rule is very simple, that when it is harvested, you have to intimate the local DFO. Then that valuation will be done of the tree. That tree will be taken to the cleaning depot, nearby cleaning depot. It will be intimated to you, and it will be cleaned at their cost. Everything will be done, and when it will be sold, 80% of that cost will come to you, and 20% as an administrative charge, cost of transportation will be by the department, like that. There is a rule. For rosewood, still there is no rule, no means restrict this leverage in felling permission, that we will try. Because in Green Tamilnadu Mission, what we are thinking that, since lot of farmers are coming forward to plant rosewood, sandalwood, red cinders, so like that, if we and that has to be, those trees have to be cut after 30 years, 40 years, like that. So why we should restrict the farmers saying that you don't plant because you will not be getting cutting permission, like that, and we will be at loss, because these are all endangered and endemic species, and we will be losing our endemic and endangered wealth, and we don't want to lose that, because in forest, unfortunately, it has gone. So it has to be preserved somewhere. So therefore, definitely we are going to take this, and your suggestion is well taken. But your first point, ethics and Van Mahotsav, which you were taught in school. Now, I think ACS Madam would have been most appropriate officer to tell this, that because of Madam, under Green Tamil Nadu Mission, we are making one nursery in each district as a nursery opening for the school children. That they will come to the nursery, they will be walk through, and there will be a small recreation kind of thing, and their awareness center will be there, clean drinking water, toilets, a kind of small tourism center for them to play with the soil, fill the bag, feel the nature, because those things have gone, vanished, extinguished, evaporated. In our days, we used to play with the soil, sand, but now we don't get opportunity to let our children feel that nature, and that is going to happen. That's why I'm telling that unique Green Tamil Nadu mission is a unique mission. We are here for branding it, and we are going to do something very big for the Tamil Nadu.
Pardon me, sir. To Varda cyclone, there was nearly 1 lakh trees were fell down. But after that, there is no effort taken to replant that. Past our erstwhile actor Vivek did so many things under the guidance of past President Abdul Kalam. But is there because of additional plus summer is we are experiencing in city nowadays? Even second May like that. Which is because of I feel that there is no green forest, green afforestation here in the city. What effort taken by DFO and other forest officials to plant more trees around Chennai and suburban?
I'll handle this question. I think it's a very good question. I have been wanting to talk about the greening efforts around Chennai. I do not know if others know about it, but there is a very massive program that's currently on in Chennai, which is called, it's basically, it is under the, under the guidance of a trust, which is called as the Chennai River Restoration Trust, CRRT. Under the Chennai River Restoration Trust, 3 rivers are getting renovated, rejuvenated. So we have all the 3 rivers, Adayar, Kuvam and Buckingham. You have the idea of riparian belt plantation, which is basically along the river bodies. That came to us about 6 months back, and we have taken up a initiative to take up along the, as these rivers get rejuvenated, create a massive riparian belt plantation along the rejuvenated rivers. That is one thing. And for the interest of the young generation seated over here, I have a big announcement and something very incredible to share. They both are an important and integral part of this project that we are in the process of setting up. I think one of the biggest botanical gardens in India, which is called as here in near Chennai. We are calling it Chennai Botanical Gardens, which will be done up in partnership with the Kew Gardens of London. So that we are setting up. This is an announcement that Government of Tamil Nadu has made. We are in the process of signing the MOU with Kew Gardens. This will be set up in Chengalpat, very close to Chennai. About 300 hectares of land has been identified. It will be a delight. It will really be a delight. It has got 2 lakes and a beautiful forest which is abutting the botanical garden. The idea is to leave something where you can kind of partner right from today to contribute, to be able to develop it, to take it further, and to make it really something that people can book their flights, especially to come to Chennai to visit the Chennai Botanical Garden. To that extent, we would like to make it nothing ornamental, but Paul is going to help us to kind of tell us what is it that we should be planting in that botanical garden along with Nirmala. Thank you.
We've been studying the local forest of the tropical dry evergreen forest along the Coromandel coast. It's a project that we've been doing for 20 years, and the last 2 years we've gone back and revisited all of the sacred groves and all of the forests that we went to 20 years ago. And actually on the 26th of August, we're going to be releasing a report on the status of the sacred groves. So this is a work that has been supported through the CSR of Ramco. And it's allowing us to look, the last 20 years, what's actually happened to these sacred groves. And the amazing thing is that in these sacred groves, there's amazing trees, these beautiful heritage trees, which we've been marking, GPSing, photographing, and we are also creating a heritage app. So somehow everything's working in concert, and I feel everything is moving forward. So with the tropical dry evergreen forest, it's a highly degraded forest because people have been here for a very, very long time. But it's a beautiful forest, and it's an evergreen forest, and evergreen forests give us shade, and when we have shade, we have a better climate. So it's one of those stories, and the really nice thing that we've managed to do again this year is we've started planting exactly as Tamilnadu Green Mission is hoping, within compounds. And we've developed a good relationship with the police, amazingly. And so the district policeman has said you can go and plant in the police stations. And so we planted the training colleges. We've planted the ladies' training colleges in Milam. We've planted the men's training college in Villapuram. And now we're going around the police stations all through the Villapuram district and planting those trees. And for me, it's wonderful because when you go to the little sacred groves, there's often a statue of a policeman standing outside next to the horses, no? And now we're actually putting the forest inside the police station. So it's even safer. This is my attitude. So this is also very nice, no? And I think there is an incredible interest, again, locally with the district forest officer and also the Conservator of Forests of the Villapuram district. They've actually started inviting us to train the foresters about the native species. And so our botanists are going out and training all of the forest department. And so there's an interest at every level of the forest department in native species. And it's something that, it's a huge thing to learn. It's like I say, it's 150 species. But if we can work from the bottom up, and the top is definitely working, so I think we're in a really, really good position just to try and keep the energy flowing and to restore the native forests at the same time as regreening Tamilnadu. And I think that's the real key, is how can we restore the forests that are degraded, how can we plant new forests, and how can we recreate ecosystems that are going to stay there as a resilient response to the climate change that we're facing.
Chair, I think the next 10 minutes can be devoted to the young guests which we have here, because I think the questions from this side. Yes, please.
So I volunteer at Taramani MRTS with the Nilal NGO, and I see these massive concrete buildings built without much care or very low quality materials. I see trees sprouting up within the walls of the MRTS building. Shouldn't something be done about these concrete forests, as it were, taking up valuable green land inside of Chennai, not just in rural or in the outskirts of the city? The botanical gardens aren't always visible for everyone, especially the less well-off.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, and I pass that every day. And there is absolutely no, kind of a doubt that these kind of concrete jungles have to be really handled. But I just came to, I have heard that there are a lot of legal issues that are kind of plaguing this entire thing. But what I want to tell you is that more than a particular building or a particular area, the time has come when all these building rules also have to change. And therefore, the green building concept has to be made mandatory. So I think that there's not much of, I won't like to take much of a time, but I wanted to mention about an initiative of the government of Tamil Nadu, which is again first in India. But that's not important that it is first in India. Why it is important is that it is a very unique initiative which is going to work on all these questions that you have in your mind. So what is it? We have set up the first ever Tamil Nadu Green Climate Company. It's a government company which will eventually include people and make sure that it works on these plans. Green buildings, ensuring that these concrete jungles are not created. Mobility, so that how do you reduce the fossil fuel? Ensure that you have all these good agricultural practices, reduction of emissions, green rating of industries, making sure that every industry falls in line and gets that kind of a rating, which comes into a non-polluting category. These are the 6 or 7 areas on which the Tamil Nadu Green Climate Company is working. I would be very happy to give an orientation to a group of young people as and when you would like to come and meet the people who are working in this green company. Most of them are very young like you. Thank you.
So many people have brought up, the fact that public consciousness, does not essentially focus on what you hold are the most important issues for us today. So you say we need to get all stakeholders involved, right? So how do you plan to get the urban youth involved? I mean, it is far easier for me to. It would have. I could have just gone home, taken a nap, and then browsed my phone all day, and then I could have gone to sleep, and that would be the end of today. I mean, I chose to come here only for the campus, to be honest. You know what I'm trying to say, right? The public consciousness, especially for the urban youth. I mean, you could go on your news shows and say these things for hours on end, but ultimately it's very unappealing to the average consumer. And if you want to get all stakeholders involved, and if you want if you want to get the biggest polluters involved, how do you plan to shake them out of what I see as a self-imposed coma? And if and also I'll really be honest, most government, I was so there's this one banner outside my house with this police officer sitting under it. It was apparently supposed to be for a drive against drugs. So this is how it works. You go onto a website, enter your name and all that, and they will give you a certificate in which you pledge to not take drugs anymore. I really don't see how that's going to appeal to me. For one, I can tell you I don't take drugs and I don't feel the need to advertise. But that said, I mean, don't people who take drugs not know that drugs are bad? You've been telling this to them like all day for years on end, and they don't listen because they're not in a position to listen, and for some reason, resources are being funneled into something as unproductive as this. So, just given that the matter is supposed to be so urgent, and given that our values, as many people hold, are steadily degrading, I mean, it's if your neighbor is not going to pour acid on a tree, at least she's not going to bother about whatever it is that these people are talking about trees. So, how do you plan to get the urban youth involved? How? I mean, if not through propaganda, then how do you plan to get them enrolled through the iron hand of the law? Just how? Is my question.
Good question. Sure, I'll have a go. We can all have a go at this one. How do we get the youth involved? I think we're not when groups come to the botanical gardens in Oroville, and they come from different types of schools, and if I meet them, I say to them, I don't expect you all to become a green forester or even a gardener. I mean, if you have a group of 26 people, 6 people will have questions and be interested. 15 of them will follow around because they feel it, and the other 5 will be at the back scuffing the ground. And that's the way it is. And there's no way you're going to change that. So for me, it's really about how to take the people that have the passion and the interest, and the rest of you be super passionate about something else. Follow your passion. And that's what the opportunity has to be for you guys. It's not that you all have to come and plant trees. We don't need everyone to plant trees, but we want to give the opportunity and the excitement and the openness to the people that are touched by nature. When I work in Rajapaliyam, which is a town in the south, there's an amazing group of young people there that are totally connected to nature. And all I'm trying to do is empower them to give them more things to do. But what you as an individual have to recognize is that you should follow your passion. And when you follow your passion, it's the most extraordinary life that you can live. And again, that's why, in a sense, that's what I was trying to say earlier. I followed my passion. I came here as a 24-year-old, and I've had the most amazing opportunities. I've now had the chance to create a botanical gardens. I've then had the chance to go out and do amazing projects in the forest and recreate forests. And now the next doors are opening. And if you follow your passion, nothing's going to stop you, and the world's going to be a much better place. And so it's about talking to people and saying, follow your passion, get excited. And yeah, there's the whole thing about drugs. And drugs is basically people who are not interested, who've lost their passion. And it's by example and by standing up and saying, I really enjoy what I'm doing. I'm having a great time. What do you want to do? Have a great time and do it. And opportunities are there at every level of society. It's like I was telling you, there was one kid that came to my course. He was literally on the edge. And now he's all the time. He's roaming around on a motorbike, and I tell him, don't drive fast and put a helmet on. But he's all the time looking for trees, and he's getting excited, and he's so happy. And so if we can do that for some of the youth, and if everyone can see that everyone's having a good time, that for me is the way forward. It's not about saying, yeah, everybody has to come and do this. You're not going to enjoy it, and you're not going to have a fun time. Have fun, enjoy, follow your passion. If you have those opportunities in life, you're super, super lucky.
What I have right now is not a question, but a request rather, because we've been given fruity Tetra packs right now for us to drink. I appreciate the effort of giving us refreshments, but then please, not Tetra packs. I've come to Arsha Vidya Mandir in 5th grade, and I know garbology. And please, guys, I know Tetra packs have layers of stuff, and it doesn't degrade over time. There's also the plastic cover that's for the straw. I think the straw is paper by the look of it, but then I don't think the cover still looks plastic to me. If it's not plastic, I'm sorry, but then the Tetra Pak is definitely plastic. So next time around, maybe steel cups, paper cups, anything else other than plastic. Thank you very much.
Just one question, ma'am. First of all, thanks to the panel for such a committed and erudite explanation. In fact, when Supriya ma'am spoke about the 1,000-kilometer of coastline and how you plan to preserve that with palmyra trees, and when Deepak ji spoke about how the forest department is integrating with other departments, I felt so happy at a comprehensive outlook of how this is going to happen. And in fact, my question was slightly preempted by another answer of Supriya ma'am when she said that 3 rivers of Chennai you are planning to link. My question to Supriya ma'am and Deepak sir is this mission also going to integrate all the rivers of Tamilnadu and ultimately all the rivers of the country? Because I feel pained when I see Palar in Spate 6 months back, and today not a single drop of water is there. So much of precious water is going to the sea, and unless this mission integrates with the linking of rivers and saving of water, what you plan to achieve may not happen. So if this linkage is done, I think, ma'am and sir, it would really, really create that green Tamilnadu.
Maybe Deepak can respond this. Only one thing I wanted to add before I just hand it over to Deepak is that there is one more mission that we should be talking about. Today we are talking only about the Green Tamilnadu mission, but we have actually 3 missions. We have Tamil Nadu Climate Change Mission, and we also have India's first ever mission called Wetlands Mission, Tamil Nadu Wetlands Mission. Now, climate change mission, everybody knows that, it's a very long and, it's again a very comprehensive topic. We can talk about it sometime later. But wetlands mission, why I want to talk about wetlands mission to answer your question? Because every time we have realized that we are giving a lot of emphasis to the rivers, but we never talk about wetlands. We never talk about these bodies, marshlands, wetlands, which are actually the biggest carbon sinks, biggest fighters against the climate change, because they fix much more, 8 times or 6 times more carbon than even your forest. But the fact is, utter ignorance, which leads to utter negligence of the water bodies. of the wetlands. And that is why we have launched this first ever mission in the country with the vision to restore 100 wetlands. So it's not only about rivers, we will also be, I do not know whether the linking is a correct word, but rejuvenation and restoration of the Pallikarnai marsh. Today, we feel so proud because after 20 years, Tamil Nadu today stands at the top position with 9 Ramsar sites, with 10 Ramsar sites, because one was already there. Only UP has 10 Ramsar sites. We have got 10, and we are really praying that I'm quite confident. Deepak is very confident we'll get some more, maybe tomorrow, day after, or very soon. But the fact is that it's very important to rejuvenate all our water bodies. Stop dumping of the garbage. Stop the sewage, which is being thrown into the water bodies. No, I'm not saying that, as a kind of a rhetoric or as a kind of a lecturing, but we truly feel that this mission, Wetlands Mission, Climate Change Mission, and the Tamil Nadu Green Mission should address all these problems which are plaguing our earth at this point of time. I think Deepak would like to answer more specifically.
I will just take a cue from ma'am's this thing. We have this session today, Green Tamil Nadu Mission, and when it comes to wetland, many of you will be unaware totally that what are wetlands, and even at the bureaucratic level, there is a confusion that what are wetlands, how do we define wetlands like that. And there can be a similar session I would request CIC to hold in wetlands, because that will enlighten the means August gathering like anything. Because just I will slightly touch upon this issue because it's a unique kind of mission, never heard. And I will not shy from sharing that Madam posted me to, upgraded the post of CCF and posted me as APC7 Member Secretary, Tamil Nadu State Wetland Authority. I was totally disappointed. I told why means this, there is nothing in that wetland, nothing has been done like that. Then suddenly I got a motivation that there is only one Ramsar site in Tamil Nadu. That too in 2002. So why not, when government has announced the mission and it is under the dynamic leadership of Honorable Chief Minister, then why not increase the number of Ramsar sites first? So, and we got a clue from Government of India that Bharat Ka Amrit Mahotsav, they are going to declare 75 Ramsar sites. And Tamil Nadu, and total Ramsar sites was 49. So 26 Ramsar sites were to be declared. So we cashed upon this opportunity and we sent 13 proposals outrightly out of 26, and 9 have come and 4 we are waiting. So Tamil Nadu will become number 1 in the Ramsar sites if God will be very great. But I will tell you one thing, there are 42,000 wetlands in Tamil Nadu. 6.92% of the geographical area of Tamil Nadu are wetlands. All India average is India's 4.62% under wetlands, 15.93 million hectares. Tamil Nadu 9 lakh hectares. Is still the per capita water availability of Tamil Nadu is 920 cubic feet per person, as against the national average of 1500. Why this is happening? That's why this wetland mission will come into, will play a very vital and very crucial role in rejuvenation of the wetlands which are land saturated with water. Land saturated, you are telling the Palar, same thing is happening Noyal, same thing is happening Bagai, every river same thing is happening. Everything. So thing is that, why? Because out of this 42,000, 19,000 wetlands are less than 2.25 hectares. And we don't know where these are. There was a mapping done in 2011 by the ISRO with the help of our Institute of Remote Sensing, Anna University. But we are not able to locate those wetlands now. It is a sorry state of affair. So therefore, we will have one separate session on this, where wetlands, I will tell that it's a mind-boggling thing. It's a great, the 3 missions which have been declared by the government from the conservation point of view, it has never happened in any state. And I take pride in this, that being in a Tamil Nadu cadre and my part of the system, and two major responsibility government has given me to take it forward, and I feel blessed, and I think I would like to end my career with a kind of lifetime achievement. That's something this opportunity has given to me. So God blessings. Thank you so much.
Just one point. If you ever think how much a wetland contributes, the recent study has been done by the Planning Commission, and without naming the wetland, I would say that a wetland in economic value sometimes contributes to an extent of 30 to 40 crores per year. If you evaluate, it's called as the services offered by a wetland.
Yeah, I'm Harshni, and yeah, I usually love plants. So at first, I would really thank you for making me realize that greenery, the concept of greenery or the concept of trees, it not only it not only helps in the human life, but it also helps in the animal species, like the ones with only 5 cents. And because trees, they act as shelter to the stray animals. And now my question is, like, what message would you like to give for those who send awareness about the concept of greenery or the trees, and they promote their organic products and organic lifestyle in order to enhance the conservation of nature through social medias like Instagram and Facebook? What message would you like to give?
Really? I've given my answer already. I mean, what message do I want to give? It's the same one as I gave earlier. Have fun and enjoy. This is what you be passionate. Be organic, yes, but don't feel guilty. Just get out there and do you want to feel healthy? Do you want to feel good? Do you want to grow as a person? Do you want to wake up in the morning and get out of bed and say, yes, this is what I want to do? That's the thing you should aim for. Get out of bed first thing and just say, this is the best day of my life, and what do I want to do? And that's what you promote on social media. Just go out there and be happy. And get out there and do it, and whatever you do is great.
Sahu ma'am, is this project integrated with carbon credits? Would you like to elaborate, ma'am?
Very much. We have kind of notified an officer who's sitting here in front of you as the nodal officer to work on the carbon sequestration, because all the three missions cannot be looked separately if you are not, or they will not be successful if you don't integrate the carbon sequestration and carbon credits issue. We have floated the expression of interest in Tamil Nadu. We have got a lot of interest. People have applied to our expression of interest. We have shortlisted organizations. We are working very closely with them, and shortly we will be coming out with our carbon credit policy. Thank you.
Sorry, we can't take that question. We'll take it offline, right? All good things must come to an end, and I'm afraid this session also has to come to an end. It's already 15-20 minutes beyond our normal schedule. And I can share with all of you that this has been one of the most interesting sessions that the CIC has organized, especially because of the participation of this young audience here. A big applause for all of them. The usual kind of audience we have is, oh, been there, seen that. And there's a lot of comments rather than questions. And it was so refreshing to hear the young people not only come out, but come out strongly. And we do take your point that we will be sure that next time there will be eco-friendly material which will be used by us. We were taken by surprise at the large audience, and we couldn't provide, and it was done at the last moment. So next time it's a promise that whenever you're here, you'll find only eco-friendly material being used. That's a promise. Now coming to the audience, to the panel. You would have attended a lot of our government, and as my young friend said, it would be an uninspired kind of a presentation where we would reel off a lot of statistics, and I'm guilty of doing that, having been in the government for almost 3.5 decades. And this was, people talking with passion, people talking, owning the project that they are implementing, and talking absolutely from the heart. Thank you very much to each one of you. We have a saying in Tamil, most of you I think know Tamil, that when you speak plainly, we say, Pacha Pachaya Pesran. Have you heard it? And they are called Pacha Tamilan. And from Pacha Tamilan, we are going on to Pacha Tamilnadu or Pasumai Tamilnadu. I think it's a great way to begin, and I am thankful to Supriya for she has been involved very passionately with this subject wherever she's been. Many of you will still, if you go to Ooty, they'll remember her there are many collectors who have come and gone, but they will only remember her. So thank you for retaining that passion, Supriya, and our best of luck to you, and I'm sure in whatever you do, we'll be there supporting you. Deepak similarly has given us really, it's not a government presentation at all. He had a government presentation, by the way. So this is the first slide. He didn't go beyond the first slide. So thank you very much, and that was a very informative session that we had. And we will definitely call all of you back for the other sessions that you have talked about. Incidentally, we were also quite involved with the Palnikarnai restoration project, and CIC with its intents to do much more. And we'll take up your offer, because we are building a campus which we have said would be a green campus. It's right here in Mylapore, and when we do that, we would definitely take up planting of all indigenous species over there in our green campus. And Paul, I think you couldn't have inspired more with your, follow your passion kind of advice. And I'm sure we wouldn't have been able to do it from where we come from the government. So thank you very much for that inspiration that you have given the young minds here. And I'm sure you have inspired a lot of them to take up this as a part of their life's mission. And finally, Mrs. Raja, I think this wouldn't have been possible without your constant, support. And we really thank you. And we hope that we'll have much more programs in the future where we take up such relevant topics and then, bring it to a younger audience. And we have much more interaction like we have had today. So thank you very much. And the next week, we have a program on the 19th. And this is on the traditional performing arts. Many of you are maybe aware that there are a lot of traditional performing arts which are dying. So the topic which we have chosen is traditional performing arts of Tamilnadu and especially Chennai, their survival and revival. And we have an expert talking about this, and I'm sure many of you will be back to attend that session too. And after that, we have a series of other events which I will let you know in due course of time. So thank you for coming out, and we are very encouraged by such audience response, and I hope this keeps growing. And next time we should have the galleries also full. Thank you again. Thank you once again.